Hey everyone, my name is Pranay, this is Chinmay, and this is a new series that we're starting called One2N Bits for now. We don't have an official name yet, but I think that's what I'm suggesting. Yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about billing items that we might have seen pop up, billing scares, billing nightmares on cloud costs specifically. So something like AWS bills that you have no clue about that pop, and items in AWS bills that you have no clue about that suddenly pop up, and you have to sit and investigate. Would love to hear from you, Chinmay, on what you have seen.
Yeah, I think in some cases we have seen classic cases, over-provisioned infrastructure,
Classic.
things running where people don't even know, those kind of things. Then some things that are hard to undo are RDS costs, where once you scale up the RDS, it's hard to undo the scale up. And in that
If
case,
you remember, that is.
if you remember that is, and then I don't want to touch the database because let it run, that kind of thing. So that is one something that we have seen. Other thing that we have seen consistently is EBS costs. Terabytes and terabytes of disks, unused volumes, unattached volumes, costing thousands of dollars per month.
Just there with an unnamed.
In some case, we've seen literally, like, I mean, one of the bills that I remember was $12,000 per month only on EBS costs. And overall, obviously, it was some good percentage, probably 20-25% of the overall cost. And that's where it got into the eyes of people saying, why do we have so much EBS and do we really need it? And then one thing that we saw is that a lot of those volumes were unattached, which was again, big burn that, we should have cleaned
Where
this
is
up.
this coming from?
Yeah, but we see this kind of all sort of problems. These are still fairly easy to spot, and I'm sure there are a bunch of tools, etc., for sorting that out. Some unique ones that we have seen are AWS networking costs, right? So there you
Sneaks
see,
up on you.
yes, in multiple ways. One is you want to have your infrastructure multi-AZ, always available, etc. But then it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And that cost is, cross-AZ communication, egress costs. In a lot of cases, I recently posted about it that people talk to internal services via external internet, and that causes even more costs.
We have NAT gateway costs, you have your egress costs that just keep ramping up.
Yeah. So you really have to know and get it right the first time. I think that's one of the hard parts for people to do, that they go with the default options and they go with the sort of next wizard, and then that causes you to trip.
Right.
And you only come to know when you've worked with someone who has experience, who's done this, who has done this right the first
Who
time.
can spot it ki, "Arey, you should disable this.
Correct. Those kind of things.
This is a hidden advanced setting that you need to disable.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes sense. So something that I have seen in my past is, I don't know, when AWS introduced public IP address billing, we obviously had public IP addresses enabled for everything, be it RDS, ECS, Fargate tasks, which get ephemerally created left, right, and center.
So everything was public IP?
Everything was public IP address. Everything had it enabled. Even though all communication was happening privately, but it was just enabled for it. Suddenly one day I think in February, I don't particularly remember, but the bill spiked up. And when I went down to check, the VPC costs were in like hundreds of dollars. I was like, where the last month's cost was maybe $5-10, which was a sudden thing for us, and there was no possible way for us to trace it. For that, we had to use another service called VPC IPAM, which was a whole thing on itself. So then we somehow managed to trace it, but we still couldn't find IP addresses that were assigned in the middle of the month, and then they got reassigned and they got deleted later on.
Wow.
So
how much time did it take for you to untangle all of this?
About 5 to 10 days, and then even then we had some public IP addresses enabled because people were using them. Like RDS addresses, we weren't ready for the private subnets yet on lower environments. So it took us a long time to be able to adapt to the new change. But then that was a cost item that we saw that popped up suddenly, and AWS did post about it, but if we were reading, then we would have known.
Correct, and you have so many things to do anyway that to react to this. Okay, interesting.
All right, cool. that's all, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, we'll cover some more interesting things from our experience next time.
See you around. Bye bye.